before the first temple rose from dust, before kings carved their victories into stone, before the flood erased an entire chapter of human memory. There was an age almost no one speaks of, an age when the sky itself broke its silence. Ancient scribes tried to hide it behind modest phrases, short verses, quiet warnings. The Holy Bible dedicates only a few lines to it, lines so unsettling that generations of translators softened the words, hoping no one would read them too carefully. But the truth survived, buried between the lines. It begins with a whisper. When mankind began to multiply on the earth, the sons of God came down to the daughters of men. A cosmic boundary shatters. A forbidden union begins, and creation lurches into a new, unnatural shape. From the moment the first Watcher set foot on the earth, history changed forever. The descent of the Watchers. The old traditions speak of 200 celestial beings, Watchers, sent to observe and guide humanity. They were meant to be guardians, not participants, witnesses, not rulers. But something happened. Perhaps it was curiosity, perhaps longing, perhaps rebellion that had been simmering for ages. Whatever the reason, the Watchers stepped across the veil between heaven and earth and arrived on a mountaintop known in legend as Mount Hermon. There they took an oath, each swearing never to abandon the others in what they were about to do. Their leader, Semjaza, warned them of the consequences. But desire had already taken root. The descent was complete, and humanity would never be the same. Gifts never meant for humans. When the Watchers mingled with humans, they brought knowledge, powerful, raw, and unfiltered. They taught enchantments and incantations, the secrets of the stars, metallurgy and weaponsmithing, cosmetic arts and seductive crafts, root cutting, poisons, and forbidden medicine, the movement of heavenly bodies. Human civilization leapt forward unnaturally fast. What should have taken centuries happened in a single generation. But knowledge without wisdom is a wildfire. What burns bright also destroys. Humanity grew stronger, stronger than it should have. Violence multiplied, greed deepened, and the Watchers, seeing their influence spread, became more reckless. From their union with mortal women came something the world had never seen before. Something too large, too powerful, too hungry. The birth of the Nephilim. They were called Nephilim, the fallen ones, the overthrowers, the giants. Not metaphorical giants, not legendary kings inflated by myth. Real beings, described as towering over ordinary humans, consuming food faster than the land could produce it, dominating regions with brute strength. Their appetites were monstrous, their tempers uncontrollable. The Book of Enoch paints a terrifying picture. At first, the Nephilim consumed human resources, grain, herds, harvests. But when the earth could no longer sustain their hunger, they turned to flesh, human flesh. Villages disappeared overnight. Entire valleys emptied. People fled into mountains, into caves, into deserts, anywhere the giants could not reach. Imagine living in a world where footsteps shake the ground, where shadows stretch unnaturally long, where every sunset brings the threat of being hunted. This was the world before the flood. A world ruled not by humans, but by the hybrid children of angels. A world torn apart. Humanity cried out for help. Nature itself seemed to recoil. The ancient texts described the earth as corrupted, filled with violence, ruined beyond repair. Not just morally, physically. Blood soaked the soil. Forests were ravaged. Cities fell into ruin. Rivers ran black with ash and decay. The Watchers had lost control of their own offspring. What began as forbidden passion turned into a nightmare beyond imagination. And above, in the celestial realm, the cries of the earth rose like smoke. Heaven had watched long enough. The Council of the Archangels, the story, preserved in fragments across Jewish, Christian, and even early Middle Eastern traditions, says that the archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, approached the divine throne with grief. They reported that humans were on the brink of extinction. The Watchers had corrupted creation. The Nephilim were destroying everything. The world itself was beginning to unravel. A decision had to be made. A decision that would erase an entire age. The judgment of the Watchers. The Watchers were sentenced first. They were bound in chains. Some say beneath mountains. Others say within caverns of eternal darkness where no light reaches. Semjaza and Azazel, two of the most influential watchers, were given special punishment. Semjaza would remain suspended between heaven and earth. Azazel would be imprisoned until the final judgment. Their teachings, once the pride of early humanity, were now condemned as the seeds of destruction. But the Nephilim, they could not be chained. Their bodies were colossal, their rage unending, their hunger unstoppable. There was only one solution left: a reset, a cleansing, a flood. The great flood, the waters came not as gentle rain, but as judgment. Legends from dozens of cultures, Sumerian, Akkadian, Hebrew, Greek, describe a deluge so vast it erased nearly everything. Towering waves, collapsing mountainsides, cities swallowed whole, forests ripped from the soil. The Nephilim, despite their size, could not survive it. Their bones shattered, their kingdoms vanished. Their roars were silenced beneath endless water. And just like that, the age of giants ended. But not completely. The presence that remained. The strange thing about the Bible is that after the flood, giants appear again. Anakim, Rephaim, Emim, Zamzumim. Entire tribes of beings described as tall as cedar trees, mighty as the oaks. Even Goliath, defeated by David, is often considered a remnant of these ancient bloodlines. How is that possible? If the flood was meant to wipe them out, then why do they reappear? Three theories dominate. 1. The corruption survived through hidden bloodlines. Perhaps some of the Watchers' influence passed through generations unnoticed. 2. The Watchers descended again after the flood. A second rebellion? A second union? 3. The Nephilim were not entirely physical. Their spirits, according to Enoch, remained on earth as violent, restless entities. Any of these answers leaves an unsettling possibility. The giants may not have vanished at all. The giants in world culture. What makes this story even stranger is that nearly every ancient civilization describes sky beings who descended, hybrid children, devastating giants, a great flood that destroyed them. From the Greeks' Titans, to the Sumerians' Anunnaki, to the Hopis' red-haired giants, to Norse legends of Jotun, to Celtic stories of towering warriors. It's as if the entire ancient world was remembering the same nightmare through different languages. Coincidence? Or cultural memory of a real event? Archaeological whispers. Although many giant skeleton claims were hoaxes, some findings remain unresolved. Enormous burial mounds in the Levant, massive footprints carved into basalt, ancient artwork showing humans dwarfed by towering figures, Mesopotamian tablets depicting hybrid beings, ritual pits filled with oversized bones. None of this proves Nephilim existed, but none of it dismisses the possibility either. Archaeologists argue, theologians argue, mythologists argue, but the story refuses to die. The spirits of the giants. One of the most chilling lines in the Book of Enoch says, "The spirits of the giants shall wander the earth until the day of the great judgment." Meaning, their bodies drowned. Their rage survived. To some, this explains legends of violent spirits, poltergeists, and destructive forces that appear across many cultures. To others, it is simply myth. But whether myth or memory, the fear behind it is undeniably human. Something ancient terrified our ancestors. Something powerful enough to require wiping the world clean. Something forbidden enough that only fragments of the story survived. The questions left behind: were the Nephilim real giants? Were they metaphors? Were they warning stories about crossing boundaries never meant to be crossed? Or were they exactly what the texts say they were? The hybrid children of angels and humans, whose existence nearly destroyed the world. The truth may be lost, drowned beneath the flood, scattered among fallen temples and forgotten scriptures. But one thing remains certain. The oldest stories of humanity do not begin with us. They begin with watchers, with rebellion, with giants who shook the earth, and with a world that learned, the hardest way possible, that some knowledge comes at too great a price.